Good morning, viewers. Thank you very much. Welcome to Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting all the way from Nairobi in Kenya and Machakos across. We are coming. It looks like it is the only nearest destination that people can go and have look at Governor Mutua's performances over this new year. Good morning, Tawish. How are you in Narok?
A very good morning indeed to you, Dr. David Masanga from the Political Command Center. Good morning to our viewers watching the program in Africa and the rest of the world. My pleasure to join you on this program, Dr.
Are you happy as a Kenyan this morning?
Absolutely not, Dr. Looking onto the events, the unfolding events, especially on the political front, I wouldn't quite say I'm very, very happy or excited that we are in the current situation that we are in as a people and as a nation.
What happened to this morality? What went wrong? Today I'm punching questions to you yourself as a Kenyan. You have been a news anchor, a journalist for a long time on various television stations. You were there in 2007, 2008. Are we not heading that same route?
It's evident, Dr. that we are actually headed there, especially as we continue to shout and talk about 2022 general election, if it will be there. When you look into the behavior and the way, especially our politicians are carrying themselves, Dr. It quite tells you that we are headed to the 2007-2008 situation, and it could even be worse, because what we are seeing today, especially with our politicians, is something that I will say has never been witnessed, even in the past. We have had MPs and lawmakers disagree, but on principle disagree, on ideas disagree, but do the same as is prescribed, as is expected of them, because they're honorable members, or that should be what they should be. But Dr. looking into how the politicians are carrying themselves, look into what happened yesterday in Parliament, it does quite discourages anyone. It doesn't inspire any hope for the people of Kenya, that you have politicians who are supposed to be role models, people who are supposed to demonstrate, of course, that good character. And what I'm seeing is just more of demeaning themselves every now and then, Dr. And when you talk about 2007, 2008 situation, especially in reference to the post-poll skirmishes, Dr. Masanga, I can assure you that if we proceed with the way we are now, we are likely going to have a worse situation and a worse scenario than what we witnessed in 2007, 2008.
Thank you very much, Tawish. Good morning, all of you, wherever you are across the continent of Africa, in Europe, in America, watching us. This is Punchline Africa Television, bringing to you news from Kenya and the continent of Africa. Good morning, most of you. We have one day left, just one day left to reach the new year. What have we achieved? What do we intend to achieve? What does Africa want? What does Kenya want? Time and time again on this television station, I have been telling people the preparations for elections for 2022 are very ugly, very bad. Very, very bad. We are a problem of ourselves. We delayed, we did things lately, people obstructed others, people went around just bumping. Now we have reached a point. I am not Mugawa Kebiro in Kenya. I am not near the prophet Elijah and Elisha. I have been all the time, and I will remain all the time. A man who studied the subject of political science. I studied it up to the last iot, and I'm able to explain my actions anywhere to anybody on planet Earth, that this is how I can write a paper in political science and pass. I've been warning Kenyans that it might not be rosy if you don't do a redemption strategy. I'm repeating this word for many of you who might not have had the chance of knowing what redemption strategy is. Redemption strategy is reconciliation, truth-telling, accountability, restitution, reparations, and above all, After you have done all these things, you have a product called, a subset product called healing. And after you have healed, then you avert a conflict and you have what we call a redemption strategy. If Kenyans don't go that route, if there is any Kenyan today saying I was a liar when I was telling you that it's better to do reconciliation, it's better to have a properly organized election, an election organized properly on the framework of international suffrage, where everybody, every person will take part, will play part, will be agreeable to the results. Call me wherever I will be. Don't cry for me. Cry for the children, your children of Jerusalem. Tell me, I'm a Gentile preaching to the Jews. Most of you here call me a foreigner. But people who have rescued countries are always foreigners. The United Kingdom was built on the expertise of foreigners. If you trace the kingdom where it started from, who are the inhabitants are foreigners. I'm not here to seek a place for foreigner to take over. I'm here to give my knowledge, and I'm here to subject an interrogation, sensible discussion. What I saw yesterday on the floor of Parliament is exactly what I have been telling people, that be careful. Don't go into this election when you have not sorted out certain things. I want to give an example, Tawish, my panel and the listeners. Today you are driving towards Malaba border with Uganda, Obusia. Somewhere in the Rift Valley, where you used to live in the Rift Valley. You used to stay there with your family. I'm speaking from a personal experience of people I have met. I have very many, about 27 people that I've met, whose houses today are being occupied by other people, but they have never received any compensation. So when President Uhuru Kenyatta said he needs a BBI, a bridging of bridges, building of bridges to bridge our hostilities, to come down and talk and become one united Kenya. The same people who occupy people's houses were the first ones to oppose. I'm being very blunt here and very bold. Tawish, I hope you'll also today be very bold. If we don't talk about this, then we are useless. Then we are not a third party. We are not an estate. We are not the fourth estate. The fourth estate is not a khaki envelope. A fourth estate helps the three estates to govern. It points out what are the weaknesses. The fourth estate of a media house speaks out. Our media house plays soap opera from Mexico. Our media houses play things of outside influence, but they are not speaking about this. These are subjects that we should engage ourselves as Kenyans. What is going on here? President Uhuru Kenyatta does very well, brings you a BBI to say, let's reconcile before we go for elections. People technically, you can see, if you are creating a party, Tawish, you create a party based on those boys who were on the floor yesterday. If I were Deputy President, let me address him today in a very good language, because his name always bites my tongue. a deputy president, if I were him, Ruto, I would sit back and pull my chair back and say, oh my God, what is this that I have? If you have people of that nature, if you have people whom you have just crowded together because of money, because they need money for campaign, they need money for campaign tomorrow, apart from Rigathi Gachagua, the rich guy from Nyeri, who has amassed wealth unexplainable. Where else do you think, who else has the money to run an election, to run a campaign of his role? So that's why you see the MPs play very terrible situation. They have decided to cause a very big problem for us. And that problem is they go and fight in front of our children. I wish you have younger children in the house. I believe yesterday they said, Dad, what is going on there? Then tomorrow you come up and say, why are children burning schools? Are you not ashamed as Kenyans to see two MPs? I was ashamed as a Ugandan when I saw MPs breaking chairs. The Uganda one was even bloody. But the Uganda one was bloody because external forces invaded the parliament. But today, this one is internal dynamics of MPs fighting each other. They were sent to discuss, to legislate, and create laws which govern wananchi. We have a mess. If I were Deputy President Ruto, I would sit back and look at the formation of politics. Where is it heading? You might think you are popular. You are not. You can see it is a sample. It's just a simple sample. The training of yesterday, lessons learned from yesterday is that if all these smaller parties unite, Tawish, they can defeat any person in elections in Kenya. And I'm telling you, the cooperation started yesterday. Because the parties know exactly. If you look at a person, Tawish, I'm going to allow you to take over this show. If you look at a person like Aden Duale, who was a leader of majority, he says parties don't need ideology. Do you think such a person has ever gone to school? I regretted why I even I used to teach him a few lessons in class when he comes to Intercontinental Hotel and he asks me about this, about that. I used to sit down for about 30 minutes, 45, as he's waiting for his appointments and tell him this is what you can do, that he was saying he was doing a master's degree. I don't know what. How can you fail to know that a party, any party must have an ideology? Otherwise, you would be having Al-Shabaab and other terrorists coming to register parties in Kenya and say this is our party. Which government can allow parties just to mushroom? It is cleaning up parties. I am very saddened. The headlines today of the newspapers talk of aggressors as MPs engage in fist fights. This is not what we sent them to do. I've told you the Ugandan situation was even worse because it was not the MPs. It was the outside security special forces that entered the parliament to evict some people of opposition and beat them up because of changing the age limit. What they were fighting for in Uganda, age limit. I am not a man who can describe how long you live. Tawish, I can't tell you how long you live because I'm not God. The Ugandan MPs on this one, they got wrong. They should have gone. They should have gone on term limits. They should have stuck on, if they were not going to be killed because they want to restore term limits, I would support them. But if you are going to be beaten up because you don't want, you are determining when a person should end. You have your own party. Why do you determine for the other party? That is a mistake. That's the difference where we parted ways. Museveni has his own party. He is able. The people in that party can select him if they feel that he is able to continue. We in other opposition parties like mine, Uganda People's Congress, of these colors, of Obote is gone down. I don't want to meet him down there and feel ashamed, my friend. Hear this today, Tawish. I will feel ashamed if my president asks me, you have come to meet me or you are following me. Which party were you? I will tell him I remain a member of Uganda People's Congress with my card, which I got in 1968, which I still have up to today. I will not sell my party like the children have sold the party to the highest bidder. Whether we remain two in that country, I'll remain with that party, Uganda People's Congress, in my heart. And I like the color because the red color is mine all the time. That's why maybe my people in my constituency voted the red color of Dr. Milton Obote, not Chekulanyi. They voted the red color because those are the instructions I gave them. That's my color. I'll remain that way. Principle. I will not shuffle. I will not change. And I don't hate anybody for being a member of NRM. That is their right. That's democracy. I've been exposed to international politics. How do you hate another member of the party because he is belonging to ODM or Azimio ya Umoja? Why? Yes, let's discuss. If you beat me by argument of Karl Marx, Adam Smith, all this, bring them and we chat. If you have a theory to back up, if you know the quotes of Abraham Lincoln like I do, bring them, let's chat. But I will not discuss, I will not fight another member of opposition. Even I have forgiven the NRM themselves. When they find me, say, hi, I told you. Or you know what I said, Tawish? I told you. When they come to say, oh, these things are not bad, these things are very bad in Uganda, I said, I told you. I remember my book that I wrote, Democracy in Uganda, a Myth or a Reality. A few days ago, I was looking through the books, and I think I will reproduce this book, more copies. That was way back in 1991 when I wrote Democracy in Uganda, a Myth or Reality by Dr. David Matanga in London Guildhall University. I remember that very well. I looked at it and I read a few pages. I said, oh my God. These are the things that I said, that I predicted, Tawish, in 1991. This is exactly what is going on in our country. But we don't, with due respect, anybody who has his party, to give him the chance. That is up to them. Let's also organize. Let it come to Kenya. In Kenya, these headlines, the fighting would not be there. But because the people are not principled, Deputy President William Ruto would take this seat very comfortably. if he had respected the deputy president, the president himself. He didn't. He belittled him. He disrupted his tenure of office. He's done so many things. He opposed him publicly, belittled him, besmirched his name, prostituted, good strong English word, prostituting the name. You see, you can besmirch my name, but don't prostitute it to other people that is not this, is not that, is not that. Tawish, this is where we have found ourselves in a state of quagmire. The laws that are coming might not permit some parties to exist. Because if parties are preaching hate, then that party cannot be registered in this country. And that's why there is a worry by the UDA party, because it is preaching class struggle, the hustle versus the dynasties. If your manifesto, if your ideology is to separate the rich versus the poor, and you are advocating for the poor to go and kill the rich, nobody will register you. Can you see why people are very worried about this political party act? People will not register you. And one of the casualties of the parties that will not have a certificate, if they bring their manifesto, is they have advocated and started dividing Kenyans on the rich and the poor classes. We are hustlers. We are the ones who are dying for you. That cannot bring unity in a country like Kenya. Tawish, I leave you with this as you talk shamefully, shamefully, because I know all of you are going to, most Kenyans are ashamed. I am ashamed of when I saw people throwing bottles. Another guy, a man stands and collects more bottles, and there is a woman giving more bottles to beat this one. These are members of parliament. You saw that? Let's play these clips before Tawish comes in and takes it from there. I sent you clips this morning, Mr. Production, back in the headquarters in Nairobi. Play those clips of these guys, a man with children in your house. You are being given bottles to beat another man. You don't care where the bottle hits. What type of violence is this? I'm asking. If you are ready, have seen the scenes for yourself. Take it away from here. What do you think the children, our children, would do What do you think the children will do, the ones that are watching us from their houses, from their sitting rooms? What will they do? How will you stop the children from burning schools? If you editors yourselves are exchanging blows in front of the cameras, the whole world. I was doing a program last night from Nigerian television where almost 200 million people watching me. The type of questions they were asking, we thought the fight in parliament was left for Malema and the groups. But if you are creating a Malema group in Kenya that can now jump out and lastly walk out of parliament just to frustrate, and it is unfortunate that a leader of minority was also caught in a fracas. We wait for the police reports whether his finger was bitten by Mr. Soros. If it was so, we must condemn violence. I condemn violence, whichever type, where it comes from. Violence is not my means. Violence is not my means. I have never been, but I don't want a violent situation. I run away very fast. So the situation here, Tawish, is something that you must not accept. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ari, and thank you for the remarks you brought forth. Indeed, Dr. Ari, what happened yesterday was very dishonorable. It is something that is very, very disheartening that you have members of parliament, lawmakers, people who are supposed to carry themselves with the utmost civility, are really engaging in such kind of violence. Just like you've said, Dr. Masanga, I think I join you, that we need to condemn these acts of violence and lack of civility coming from our politicians, regardless of which side of the political divide is perpetuating it, because what we saw yesterday was indeed very, very ugly. And just like you pointed out, Dr. Ari, I mean, what then bars our students, what bars our young generation from learning? Because they continually learn from the old generation. They learn from us. They learn from what their leaders do. Look into, for example, the kind of riots and acts of violence, burning of schools in various institutions right here in Kenya. I mean, it gets to a level someone will say, maybe these kids are justified because they see their politicians, their leaders, people they look up to in terms of moral guidance, really engaging in what looks like worse than what they are doing. So, Dr. This is very, very bad. And I think when you watch and listen the utterances, the actions by our politicians, it does point to the direction that this is just but a grand rehearsal of what we should be projecting in the run-up to 2022 general election, Dr. Masanga, because when you have politicians carrying themselves like this, in a place where they're supposed to carry themselves with that respect, with that honor, with that civility, how about when they go out and engage in the public forums, in the political gatherings, and someone else comes with a divergent view? What should we expect? For instance, people who will not be persuaded by a certain political ideology, maybe in terms of voting for these leaders, what is it that is going to befall on these individuals, especially the voters? So this is very, very bad. And I think it's something that must be dealt with. And I'm happy that the interim speaker then who had really took action and of course invoked that the privileges that the members really enjoyed, and suspended even the minority leader, John Mbadi, for engaging in what really happened yesterday. And I hope this is going to cut across board, just like you've said, because when you look into this, it wasn't like one particular leader of politician was fighting the other. I mean, they were engaging in a fist fight, just like it has been said. And I think we need to now task even the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, the NCIC, and other relevant agencies, that are we going to continue and tolerate and just watch politicians continue to incite members of the public, especially as we head into 2022 general election, Dr. Masanga? This is akin to intimidation. It is akin to coercion. It's akin to forcing people to agree on some of the things that they do not necessarily agree on. And when you see, for example, these lawmakers who are against this particular political parties of coalition bill, what is it that is wrong with this particular bill that they are vehemently opposing? Simply because their master, Deputy President William Ruto, is against this bill, and we know him We know his credentials in as far as standing on which side of history. Even in the past, we have always seen him want to defeat every genuine and, of course, a good cause that is being championed and supported by each and everyone. Look at the majority of MPs that voted for, of course, for that bill yesterday. And look at the handful of MPs that were opposed to it, drawn largely from UDA. And most of them, we get to understand that probably they were given some, of course, some coins to come to parliament, and even some of them were airlifted really to come to parliament to come and try to cause violence and disrupt that very special session yesterday, Dr. Masanga. But I'm very happy that we are making headway. We are making some steps as far as this bill is concerned. And I'm very, very certain, just like other Kenyans there, that this bill is going to sail through by the end of the day. This bill is going to be enacted into law, and this is what we need moving into 2022 general election. But we must, Dr. Masanga, remain resolute, and we must remain steadfast in as far as condemning these acts of violence and lack of civility coming from our politicians. Because if left unchecked, then I can tell you what happened in 2007, 2008 was just but a rehearsal, Dr. Masanga. Because we are headed to yet another divisive election, an election where you have politicians who only think about the ambition, who only think that they have no other outcome that they expect out of this election other than victory. When you have people with such kind of an attitude and a mindset, it's a very, very dangerous pattern that we actually are trying to draw as we near towards 2022 general election. So I agree with you, Dr. Masanga, that this is something that must really be condemned. And other relevant agencies, not only the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, even the DCI and other agencies, including the EACC, where did the integrity, chapter 6 on integrity really go? I mean, these leaders, even in fact, those who are engaging in fist fights on the floor of the House, should not even be allowed to contest, let alone be elected in the coming elections, because they are giving us a very, very bad example. And that is what every young kid is learning out here, that this is what really politicians are made for. And this cannot be the best example that we want for our young generation and the future generation for this country. I submit, Dr. You are muted, Dr.
Thank you very much, Tawish. My opinion on this is a party built on money is not a foundation for a nation. You have even mentioned several things, including people airlifted from their villages. How much money was spent on one MP for a helicopter to go down to pick several MPs? A lot of money. So it shows to you, and I'm now going to be very candid. Those listening to me in the security sector, in the government sector, I speak my mind. If you take my advice, I protect the legacy of His Excellency the President, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, whether in London, whether in Kenya, whether in Zimbabwe, whether in South Africa, wherever I would be, whether in South Sudan, Khartoum, where my friends are, whether in Tigray. I have not refused. I have not told you I'm not afraid of the Tigray people. I am. I will defend His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta. In fact, in one of the books that I've written, The Pan-Africanist, you will find my sentiments that will be published very soon, because we have 7 months. Some of us will retire to publish more books. Don't think we are talking here on the TV for you forever. We shall retire to write books, and the material we are collecting is to put up books so that they can feed me, give us the last drop of medicine. You know, when you are old, you buy medicine here, there, and then and that. So I want to tell you frankly that where the president is and where Raila Odinga and the leaders of this country are watching, if I were them, if I were His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, I would suspend, I would ask Parliament to postpone this election. Yes. I might sound controversial, but let's begin looking at it right now than to be late. And late, when it takes place, and the things happen, don't cry for me. Cry for yourselves. Because first of all, that's what I've been saying. Can you hold these elections without reconciliation? That is the question of the day today, Tawish. Can you surely hold elections? I've just given you an example. I met another gentleman who has a daughter who works in one of, I met the daughter who works in one of the television stations. Very powerful presenter in one of these television stations. They had lived in Eldoret for over 60 years. Today, the father lives in Nairobi in a boys' quarters, or what you Kenyans call XQ, an SQ, extended, house of the main house. This gentleman had a farm, had cows, had everything, his land. Today, when he passes there, he cries tears. And every time I speak of reconciliation, the first thing that comes in my mind is the picture of this lady, the younger lady, who is on one of the televisions. I can't tell you which one, so that you profile her. Says every day, we even pass and ask Dad, what happened? They were there. The neighbors even jumped. We have not healed. People have not healed. And let's not pretend that we have healed. You can see people who have not healed. You see them on the floor. Because the boss who is conducting the mafia man, and I have been very honest with this mafia theory, and some people think I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. I studied mafia, the style of a mafia operation. Believe me or not, listen to me. I used to teach Thames College, South Thames College in Tooting, before I went for further studies to come for internship in Thames College. I told my students about the mafia, how Aldo Moro was killed, the former prime minister, the late prime minister of Italy, who used to please the mafia at night and work as a prime minister. One day, they kidnapped him, shot him in 1978. Today, the world speaks of the Christian Democrat, the only man who was able to stabilize Italy out of economic upheavals. He died in the hands of the mafia. If you watch the films of the mafia, you can see the operations of the mafia. The mafia beats you, then comes to pay your bill in the hospital. Did you know that? You read these books. Go and Google the books. Students, anybody who wants to argue with me. The mafia will break your legs. Then even come and say, oh, how is your family? He will leave the money for you and you think he likes you. A good father of the mafia style in Sicily is the man of the last word. And if you are enjoying the privilege and you think you are closer to that godfather, he could also start suspecting you of selling his secrets. Should one thing go wrong, they will beat you first. Who claims to be very far? That's why some of us, where you reach, you don't interfere with some things. You leave it as it is. If you have worked in any intelligence system, anything, don't have too many handlers. Stick to one handler. And Tawish, I'm training you as a younger man. Stick to one handler. If you are in an office, stick to one boss who is your direct boss. Don't do those that touch this, that No. A child who drinks in so many cups, an African proverb says, a person who drinks in all cups does not know which one had poison. Am I wrong? So
absolutely correct, Dr. Arias.
How will you know? How? Some of us speak, for example, for me, I don't have an enmity beyond the enmity of against the deputy president. No. First of all, I am a very proud guy inside my heart for having gone to stand for him. He has never stood for me. Yes. There are things that I did that he should be grateful. If I had not gone in that hall for Rule 68, Rule 68 would have been used on him. He would not be running in a chopper today. Yes. And I'm proud. I mean, if you say he was not there, then you are stupid. You are very stupid and ignorant. Therefore, get out. Let call Satan to take you, but not God. I was there. I was fighting Gladwell Otieno on the floor in the presence of these same men who called themselves Tanga Tanga. They were watching. And Gladwell Otieno was passing a motion which was going to legalize Rule 68 in the ICC. Ruto would not be shouting here today. That Sanga would not be shouting. They would be in jail. Sang, forget about His Excellency's case was over. Was over. But I went back for their case. And let's speak facts now. Jamen, tuambiane, mimi sina ugomvi na mtu yote, sitaki kitu kwake. Lakini tunataka nchi ikuwe na amani. Kama Kenya has got peace, my country will have peace. But you cannot create a monster in East Africa when we are looking for integration. The truth must be spoken. People don't learn from the past. I jumped on the floor and tore the t-shirt of Gladwell Otieno. And Madam Gladwell Otieno, I apologize. Because you accused me that I had touched your breasts. Netherlands police arrested me. When they looked at the CCTV, I didn't touch your breasts. I tore the t-shirt which was displaying that Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto are killers. They had supplied all of them. And I'm sorry to confess to God that I'm sorry I stole those t-shirts at night. So I'm sorry again, God forgive me. I stole the t-shirts to safeguard that Ruto. Let him here. I had to carry them and put them on a car. You know the rubbish collector, which you know those lorries for the rubbish. Then they chew them. Ask Danny Mwangi. Ask another guy who is the brother of Mbuki, the MP for Tarakaniti, Jasper. We carried those t-shirts at night. I carried them. 3,000 pieces. I destroyed them in the ICC for the sake of Ruto. On Rule 68. I want to remind Ruto so that he knows when he sits down where he's sitting. Remember, don't point fingers at me. God will not be very happy. I helped. Now today, he doesn't even want to know any advice. We are heading there. They think because Karim Khan is there, nothing will happen. Karim Khan is about to be removed, you know. People are moving emotions. You never know, 2022 could be very bad. First, I did not come in Kenya to divide anybody. I did not know Ocampo from Uganda. When he came to Uganda, he charged two people, Tawish. He charged one tribe and left the other tribe of mine. We are Bantu. He charged the Luos. He left the Bantu people. Free! Free! To walk free! When some of them dug graves, open graves during that time and told their children to go inside and they covered with it. Look at that! I feel hurt. That's why I stood firm on Ocampo when I saw him coming to Kenya. I knew he was going to disrupt this country. If you think I'm bad man, it's okay. It's okay. Hakuna shida. I'm Paul. Paul said to the Philippians, I'm not a Jew. I'm a Gentile preaching to the Jews. One day you will hear my words. You are now preparing another graveyard towards an election where Chebukati is a bad referee. Why do I say Chebukati is a bad referee? He goes to a country which is bankrupt, and let MPs listen to me. Jermaine, pick this clip and listen to me. Please, my brothers, I've lived on this planet for 66 years. Listen to me. I have something to add which you might not have in terms of experience. I don't have money. I'm not too rich. I'm not what God has given me is enough. But unite your country first. This thing of bravado, chest bumping the chest and walking around that you are macho. This election, you have a disease, an invisible disease, Tawish. If you look at the rate of infection on Kenya, is climbing every day very fast. By the time you reach a full-blown up campaign, we don't know. God forbid. So slow down, unite your country, work together between now and the 5th. Let MPs come back home. Let them sit and unite and talk and say this clause would be good. But please remove it and let's winner takes all. Sit down and work out. Don't go to parliament to fight. At my age, if I don't speak out, who will speak out? Who else will tell you what is happening? So for me, I've done my best. Deputy President William Ruto, I did my best. You did not hire me. No, but I did it. I didn't even know that you exist. I did not know. Honestly, the only person I knew who existed was His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, because I had met him before in London when he came to do an investigation on Githongo when he was the leader of opposition. They came there as a parliamentary group investigating the corruption scandals, and I met him. That is all. That's the only person I knew. But for you, you are lucky. Because of the friendship, you also were saved. I went in. You did not even want me to go in Hague that day. You did not. I went with my own money. You actually paid Ngunjiri, the MP of Nyeri, was the one that Ruto gave money to go and represent him in The Hague. Unfortunately, when Ngunjiri arrived, he did not have an accreditation card. He was not accredited. Zero. He was refused the entry. Matsanga's accreditation had come, was already with me. Because I'm an international operator. I'm not local. They were shocked. I came with my documents. I gave out my documents. When I heard from the intelligence what papers they were going to deliver in order to pass Rule 68, I stole the t-shirts at night. 3,000 t-shirts. So you tell me I even committed a crime I've never done for the sake of Ruto to come out of Rule 68. They alleged so many things on me. The British Netherlands police came upstairs to my apartment, my same room, a suite where I was staying. They found my booklets. I told them these are the booklets that I was sending to the car last night. And I had left them downstairs. They saw the booklets. They said no. They went further and said Mr. Njonjo Mue had disappeared. And Harun Dubi and Kegoro and Gladwell Otieno and others, Hassan Omar, they all pinned me and said I was the last man seen with Mr. Njonjo Mue. Njonjo Mue is still alive, he's in here. What saved me, Tawish, and the viewers, is Njonjo Mue appears in Kenya Airways flight and addresses a press conference in Nairobi. Then the police came and apologized to me. You see the pain I went through. If Njonjo Mue had gone somewhere, but Njonjo Mue requested me, Tawish, he requested me to help him because he felt suspicious that there was some Mungiki man who had come in the conference who wanted to finish him. I didn't know the Mungiki man. And he said, get me my bag. I go away. He didn't have 250. I got 300 euros. Gave him to get into a taxi to go to the airport and clear himself in, stay there, to go home. It was Njonjo Mue's request. He's still alive. But you see what I went through. Ruto doesn't know what I went through. He doesn't know. I'm not seeking any reward. I did it for the good of East Africa, for Africa. The gentlemen are here, he's here. He never came to say thanks. Forgive him. But be careful. When you are dealing with a mafia, and I want to say this, he could come and pay your medical fees when he's the one who broke your legs. I submit.
Thank you so much, Daktari, for that, and I think it's a great wisdom listening to your submission. And on this particular matter, I think, Daktari, there's that very important point you have raised about whether we should now embark and begin asking ourselves that are we truly ready even to have these elections come 2022 August, or is it time we discuss about postponing this election? This is a very, very candid discussion that anybody with a sane mind should not just dismiss blanketly. Something that we must look objectively and see truly whether we are prepared. Because when you look into the politicians and how they're carrying themselves, when you look into the IEBC, a body which is supposed to referee this election, especially its chair, and every other aspect regarding this election, Dr. Masanga clearly tells us we are not yet ready to have this election. And also looking onto the topic of discussion today, in as far as, of course, reconciliation is concerned, Had we had the Building Bridges initiative passed as we speak today, Dr. Masanga, or even the prospect of it being passed, say next year before election, then we'll be saying that we are making some headway in as far as reconciling our people is concerned. Because in 2007, our people fought because of politics. The same kind of course, antagonism amongst tribes and communities was exhibited in 2013 and 2017. It does tell you that there's something we really need to do, and do it very fast before even think about having an election. And that is about reconciliation, so that the people can agree and say whatever happened in the past is something that we bury and forget as we continue and forge a new life as the people of Kenya. Because that way, Dr. Masanga, we will be guaranteeing a prosperous nation. We'll be guaranteeing a future for our young generation. But as things stands now, Dr. Masanga, if we insist that we must have this election, whether or with or without having any kind of course, a reconciliation and the redemption strategy that was kicked off by former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta, then Dr. Masanga, we are not going to have election by the end of the day. Or if we force to have election, we may not have a nation, because as it is, the daggers are drawn, the political atmosphere and temperatures are rising with every elapsing minute. It does tell you nobody is really ready to forgive and move on. So I think this is a discussion that we must candidly conduct, and objectively so that we have a good election, even if it's after 2022 general election. I submit, Dr. Masanga.
Thank you very much. We are joined by our Meru correspondent, our brother. We can't say a prodigal son, but is a prodigal son from Jubilee Party to Safina, because Jubilee Party messed up his nomination. And he did very well. Thank you very much. You have been on the trail, and welcome back. Don't ignore us. Don't forget us. We are still with you. Things will change. Kirimi Douglas, welcome to the show. Our guest from Meru. My brother. Yesterday, you saw something. Are you ashamed? Are you in your heart? Are you ashamed? Like, do you feel some shame when you saw this gentleman exchanging real hard blows, like in a boxing ring, and using objects? And were you ashamed to see one MP from Meru, a younger man who was elected? Is it Tarakaniti or Tingana or something, whom Uhuru Kenyatta gave a vehicle, donated a vehicle to him, who stood up talking very badly about the same Uhuru Kenyatta?
I think the MP is called Paul, if I'm not very wrong, Paul Mwirigi or something.
Paul Mwirigi, he knows the man.
Paul Mwirigi, yes.
Yes. So please just give us your narration.
Thank you, Doctor, and thank you for having me on the show. And it is good to be back. One thing I deduced from Parliament yesterday, when the Member of Parliament for Tigania West, Dr. John Mutunga Kanyuithia, when he fought another member in the Arrowed chambers of the National Assembly of the Republic of Kenya, is that our lack of decorum, that our lack of organization, our lack of discipline, and also honor to the house, the August House, as exhibited by Tanga members of Parliament, or those that are allied to the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. And I believe in the history of the Republic of Kenya, as far as the 2010 Constitution is concerned, the Constitution of Kenya 2010 is concerned, we are not going to have another rogue Deputy President in our future. We shall not have other members of Parliament who are very indisciplined and narcos, like our friend, Member of Parliament, Tigania West, Dr. John Kanyuithia Mutunga, who fought in Parliament yesterday and drew bottles of water, caught on camera, and the other members of Parliament who are opposed to the political parties' amendment bill. We are going to get to a position as people in this country where we are not going to vote our members of parliament, or where we are not going to vote our people that we sent to the National Assembly based on one principle, based on principle of being a member of a political party. That era is gone, because we've seen how members of parliament can degenerate into hooligans in the National Assembly, say unprintable words, and also come out of the closet and also fight others and also injure other members of parliament. We see the member for Suba, I think it's East or West, John Buddy, who was fought yesterday, and his fingers were bitten by another member of parliament. And this is something that we cannot be able to condone as the people of Kenya. And also, we need to be able to tell off the Tanga members who were sanctioned by William Ruto. I saw others who are being ferried by William Ruto himself from their different parts of the country using choppers that have been bought using preferred public coffers and also rooted funds. This is a man that cannot allow members of parliament to vote the way they want. He had to pay them over 9 million shillings, and these people want to pay him at around 12 a.m. in the morning as members of parliament who are debating this crucial bill. As far as our political parties act is concerned, or political parties bill is concerned, these people abandoned their colleagues in parliament and went away. I am not amused, and Dr. Masanga, honestly, I am not a happy Kenyan today, because what we are seeing today are a result of an organized crime in the name of a political party, organized crime in the name of UDA party, as read by Dr. William Ruto. So I'm not amused. A member of parliament from Meru County, and to show disrespect to their own country, to their own National Assembly, and also to our dignity as a people, as a community, and also as a nation at large, Dr. David Masanga. We are not happy, and we cannot be happy when we are making headlines. This member of parliament came from the good people of Meru. He was elected under a ticket by the people of Meru, who sent him to National Assembly to legislate, oversight, and also represent the people of Meru. But this particular member of parliament, and to fight for partisan interest as exposed by Dr. William Ruto, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, a man that has defied logic, nature, and law itself to go beyond and also continue destroying the legacy of his boss, Dr. Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Doctor, we are not very happy with our member of parliament who went on board and also went overboard to make sure that he has degenerated the house as it is, and also our image as a people, as a community, and even as a county at large. We are very ashamed of ourselves, but we are urging our people to go and correct that mess in the coming general election. Dr. David Masanga. Thank you. I submit.
Thank you very much, Kirimi, for that contribution. You have made everybody is ashamed. I'm really ashamed. I saw another one called Munene from Tarakaniti. That one is my friend. I don't think I will greet him again. The behavior, for me, if you behave the way they behaved, I tell you, my brother, I will not greet them. I'm sorry. Some of these guys need to be shunned. You cannot operate like that. We are not condemning one side. Buddy, for example, there was no need of beating, fighting someone. But Buddy says the man was tearing his, so let the police find out who was in the wrong. Let the medical examinations be displayed to the public to make us make judgment. Look, to me, I think the next sitting, if Speaker Justin Muturi himself is back or is well, let him come back to handle these elections, this debate, because it looks like the chairpersons and the deputy speaker, they are biased. They are, especially the last lady from your county, Narok. Suspan. Is it Suspan? That lady.
Soipan. It's called Soipan Tuya.
Yes, she is biased. She's biased. She's purely UDA, and she has said, I don't know what has come of this. But now when you hear what Mrs. Ngirichi is saying to the public, something that she said on the newspapers, I don't know, I can't blame everybody, but hey, and this is the thing that I've been telling people here. And Social Africa, we shall wait for Social Africa to come back and we discuss. I have been telling you that some of these women MPs go there for some other activity, and I was right. So if this goes by the story that I had, Madame Ngirichi saying that this guy, he said this is a very serious matter for the DP. I don't want to propagate allegations that are not substantiated. Therefore, Tawish, I'll leave it there. But I am saying, Kirimi and others, I'm simply saying, time has come. Production team, there is someone waiting to come in there. There's a lady from Meru, a politician from Meru would like to join. Is there anybody on the line? If you feel you have anything that you can wait for our final discussion tomorrow, I want to give you a minute each to wind up. Tawish.
Very well, thank you, Dr. Masanga, and of course.
And the question before you wind up answered: can the 2022 elections in Kenya be held without reconciliation? Answer yes or no. And remember, Pan-African Forum UK Limited, we are doing an opinion poll that we shall, in 7 days, we shall announce our results. We are now doing an opinion poll scientifically, and we are trying to see whether these elections can be held or not. The obstacles seem to be, that is exactly that. You can read and say, give us more details on my post. Pan-African Forum UK Limited is conducting an opinion poll for 7 days on Kenya 2022 elections. Send your views. We shall collect them, tally them, and tell the Africans, the world, is this election able? Are we able to conduct an election? Can this election be peaceful? What are the results? Who will admit? Who will accept the results? Are the people reconciled? Tawish.
The truth is, Dr. As a nation and as a people, we haven't quite reconciled. We haven't quite forgiven one another. And what is happening today is just, I will say, some semblance of tranquility and some peace. But that doesn't mean because we are not fighting literally, it doesn't mean that this country has quite reconciled. Because we have not healed the wounds of the past. We have not forgiven one another. We haven't come out and quite spoken about what we did to one another, especially in the previous electioneering periods. And I think that's something that must worry any of us, and more so the political class, even as they continue to gravitate and agitate about these changes in the laws, even as they continue to prepare themselves ahead of the coming 2022 general election. This is a very, very candid discussion. We must have that. We cannot force ourselves to have an election as though it's a do or die situation, as though it is a must-do thing, failure to which this country will not move on. I think, Dr. I likely agree with you that we need to reconcile our people. We need to reconcile our hearts. People need to forgive one another so that we can move into next elections without the grudges that were or that exist as regards to the previous elections that we have had. Because then when we insist that we must have this election either way, looking onto the current IEBC, then Dr. Masanga, it's going to be inevitable that we are going to have, for example, disagreements or even fights or even chaos and anarchy in this country. We are not prophets of doom, but that is what we foresee. That is what we project, that if things remain the way they are, then violence, anarchy, chaos is going to be inevitable. So yes, Daktari, we must have reconciliation before even begin talking about the coming general election. I submit, Daktari.
Thank you very much. Douglas Kirimi.
Thank you, Doctor. One thing I think we need to be able to accept as a people and also as a country is that this country, as we know it, cannot go to elections the way it is today. This is a country that is fragmented on tribal lines, party lines, and also individual greed, and also individual principles that are based on selfishness, and also that are not progressive. For example, what informs a person of William Ruto's caliber to go and continue causing havoc in the National Assembly? If my member of parliament or our neighboring constituencies, like in Tharaka Nithi, where Patrick Munene comes from, Dr. John Mutunga Kanyuithia goes on national television and causes chaos, fight fellow members of parliament. Sorry, what informs the people of Kenya that these chaos are not going to be transmitted to them when the election time comes? We need reconciliation as soon as yesterday, and as a people, as a country, we need to be able to interrogate ourselves very well without further ado. We need to be able to come to a point of reconciliation as a country and follow or heed the call of President Uhuru Kenyatta of national unity and also peace as a country. Peace is very important for us as a country. Peace is very important for us as a people, because there is no way, Dr. David Masanga, we can be able to go to these elections without reconciliation as a country. If National Assembly is divided between two sides, the Azimio la Umoja side and the Tangatanga side, or the Asra Nation side, what tells you that the people of Kenya are not divided in the middle? There are those who support the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who are on the Azimio la Umoja movement, and there are other people who are on the Asra Nation movement. Kenya is divided in the middle, and this is not what the President of the Republic of Kenya, President Uhuru Kenyatta, envisaged. This is what William Ruto has been cultivating and planting seeds of discord among the people of Kenya, so that we can be able to disintegrate like the way we did in 2007. Then he comes ahead and reaps where he did not sow. What we need to understand at this point, Dr. David Masanga, is that the people of the Republic of Kenya should reconcile first, without which this country is going to disintegrate further. This country is going to be broken. This country is going to be finished the way we know it. Until we reconcile in this country, we do not win elections in this country. Actually, we should postpone these elections until we find a solution to our mess as we know it as a country. Thank you. I submit, and thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you very much, viewers. Thank you very much, guests. Our guests today, Samuel Olasesina Tawish from Narok, Douglas Kirimi from Meru in Kenya, and other viewers who have been watching from Nakuru, from across the globe, in Harare, in London, in Lagos. Thank you very much. Can elections be held? The 2022 elections, can they be held without reconciliation? In my summary, the answer is no. You can't hold. If you do that, it's better to start talking about it. I am not the government. I am not a Kenyan. But I am just an analyst. I can see the danger. I am Mugo wa Kibiro. I think I took some things of Mugo wa Kibiro. I'm seeing something ahead. Kirimi knows who Mugo wa Kibiro was. So I can see something which is not tying from yesterday's fiasco. If members of parliament themselves can fight in parliament, what about the people they represent in their constituencies? If members of parliament can fight in parliament, what about the people they represent in their constituencies? When it comes to campaigns, what will happen? I leave you with that question. I leave you with that nagging instrument in your head. God bless you. God bless Africa. God bless Punchline Africa. Have a nice new year and enjoy yourself. Tomorrow, we shall be here to end the year together. We might not be people celebrating anything much. I don't know whether there is another person who has joined us. Is she there? Production team? Anybody who has joined us from the satellite? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, viewers. Thank you very much, all of you. I wish you a good festive days to come. I wish you to end the year. Don't drink and drive. Don't get a knife to stab anybody. Don't be like the MPs in Kenya who fight, who even women were giving them bottles to hit other people. Don't wear uniform, party uniform into the parliament. Surely, party uniform into parliament, shouting slogans into the House of Parliament. I think we have lost the decorum. We have lost it. Our morality has been thrown out of the window. Thank you very much, viewers. This station is therefore is for Africa, with Africa by Africa. Ciao. Thank you.